right, folks, here we go. Buckle in because this could be the week. The one we've all been waiting for. The week Celtic lifts another league title, and all we've got to do is avoid defeat at Tannadice on Saturday. That's it. One game, one result, and the party starts. There's just something in the air right now. A sense of inevitability, a quiet confidence mixed with a bit of that giddy anticipation we've all been feeling. And listen, apologies in advance if I break into a wee bit of singing now and then. I'm in a rare good mood, and I'm not hiding it. But before we start decking the halls in green and white and belting out our favorite tunes, let's rewind a bit. Because before the final hurdle comes into focus, there's still plenty to reflect on from the weekend. Sunday's match at Hampton was more than just a semi-final win. It was a reminder of what this Celtic side is capable of when the engine's running smooth. Brendan Rodgers knows it, the players know it, and deep down every supporter watching could feel it too. Rodgers himself was in high spirits after that game, and it's no surprise. He talked a lot about the team's humility, which, let's be honest, is his way of saying the boys showed up with the right mindset. And that's crucial, especially when you're Celtic. Because for the opposition, every single match is a cup final. Every game is a chance to scalp the champions. And if you don't bring the right attitude, if you let your standards drop just a touch, you can get stung. We've seen that already this season. But against St. Johnstone, that hunger was back. That sharpness, that proper Celtic energy. And who else but Callum McGregor to lead the charge? Rodgers couldn't say enough about him. Called him a special player, a coach on the pitch. And he's not wrong. It's like having a manager wearing the captain's armband, guiding every phase of play, keeping the tempo up, setting the example. Sunday was classic McGregor, dictating from the middle, breaking the lines, and of course popping up with the opener. Hampden Park must feel like his second home at this point. He's made a habit of scoring big goals there, hasn't he? Think back to the first Brendan Rodgers era. McGregor was already delivering on the big stage. Opening the scoring in a Scottish Cup final against Motherwell, finding the net in a semi-final against Rangers. That's just who he is. He doesn't grab the headlines every week, but when the lights are brightest, he delivers. And this season's been no different. He's hit double figures for goals. Again, third time he's done it for the club, and every one of them has mattered. Rodgers was full of praise elsewhere too. He singled out Ada for his performance, especially that finish off Hatate's cross. It was one of those goals that just feels like the result of understanding, movement, timing, delivery, bang. And there was nearly another one early in the second half, just inches away from getting on the end of a cross. Rodgers sees it, and he wants more of that. Wants Ida getting into those areas more consistently. And the message is clear. It's not enough to play well. You've got to produce. You've got to score, because that's the standard at Celtic. Liam Scales was another name that came up post-match, and rightly so, played a key part in the build-up to that third goal. He could have released Hatate a few seconds earlier, made the wrong decision at first, but credit to him, he kept his head, tried again, and nailed it. Slipped the perfect ball through, and Hatawe did the rest. That kind of resilience, that willingness to go again even after a misstep, that's what separates the good from the great. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, the Scottish Cup channel's got the full match online in a tactical cam format. It's got all the extras, player positions, name tags, shot speeds, like a proper FIFA throwback. Well worth a rewatch if you're the type who loves dissecting the game, seeing where players are moving off the ball, how the shape changes depending on possession. It really shows just how much control we had at Hampton. And speaking of Hampton, what a record Brendan Rodgers has there. 14 wins out of 14. Perfect. Flawless. That's not just a stat, that's a statement. It tells you everything about how Rodgers prepares for big games, how he gets his team ready to deliver when the pressure is on. He said himself he approaches every game like it's his first. That kind of hunger, that drive, that refusal to get complacent, it filters down to the players. It's what keeps this team sharp, keeps the levels high. He said nobody at Celtic goes through the motions, and you feel that. There's no taking anything for granted here. Win a game, great. Now do it again. Win a trophy, brilliant. Now aim for the next. There's no room for resting on laurels at Celtic Park. It's all about pushing, improving, demanding more. You could hear it echoed in Callum McGregor's words too. He said that before Rodgers came back, the two of them had a conversation about hunger, about trophies, about being dominant. And McGregor's right, success is addictive. Once you start lifting silverware, you don't want to stop. And that mentality, that expectation to win, that has to be normalized. It's not pressure, it's purpose. And you can see it in how the team carries itself now. The belief, the composure, the way they step up in big moments. It's second nature. That's why the atmosphere around the club feels so positive at the minute. There's been a shift, a real change in energy since the low point at McDermott Park. That defeat stung. It was a proper slap in the face. But maybe that's what we needed. Maybe that was the wake-up call. Because since then, the response has been spot on. The team's gone up a gear. Back-to-back games with 4 first-half goals. That's no coincidence. That's a message. You hear it from the players as well. Liam Scales talked about it after Sunday's match. He said it himself, we needed that wake-up call. And when you've got leaders in the dressing room recognizing that, being honest about it, and responding to it, that's powerful. That's how teams grow. That's how titles are won. And honestly, Hampton doesn't scare this group anymore. Far from it. It feels like home. Think about it. Year after year, big game after big game, this team plays at Hampton more than anyone else. Cup semifinals, finals, showdowns. And the more you play there, the more comfortable it becomes. That familiarity matters. It breeds confidence. It breeds results. Even for players who haven't been here for long. Carter, Vickers, Hatare, Maida. These lads already feel like veterans at Hampton. Celtics only lost once at the National Stadium since Rodgers first took charge back in the day. Once, that was the Scottish Cup semi-final against Rangers in 2022. And even that went to extra time. That record doesn't just happen. It comes from belief, from quality, and from experience. And when the pressure's really on, like in penalty shootouts, we don't crumble. People say penalties are a lottery. I've never bought that. It's about nerve, about holding your bottle. And this Celtic side, they've got it in spades. When it matters, they deliver. Simple as that. And listen, it's not just about the game itself. It's about the feeling, the momentum, the connection. You can sense that the squad is in a good place again. Training will be bouncing at Lennoxtown this week. Everyone knows what's at stake. Dundee United away on Saturday. Title on the line, it doesn't get much bigger, but there's a sense that this team is ready to go and win it in style. And while all eyes are on what could be a historic weekend ahead, there's still plenty of buzz off the pitch too. One name that keeps popping up is Kieran Tierney. The chatter about a potential return to Celtic has stirred some excitement. And not just among fans. John McGinn, who's been doing his thing down south with Aston Villa, chimed in recently and had some glowing words about Tierney. He called him an unbelievable footballer, said he's sure Tierney would be buzzing to pull. On the Celtic shirt again under Brendan Rodgers. Now nothing official's been said, but it's got people thinking. Tierney coming back would be massive. Not just for his quality on the pitch, but for what he represents. A Celtic boy through and through, someone who gets the club, breathes it, lives it. And if you believe in fairy tales in football, this one might just be lining up perfectly. And it's not just Tierney who's got that kind of romantic connection to the club. You start to wonder about others, like John McGinn himself. Would he ever come back up the road? Contracted at Villa for a while yet, but the idea of seeing him in green and white one day, that's the kind of thing fans love to dream about. Even Andy Robertson, another one with Celtic in his heart though. Maybe time's not quite on his side. Still, the thought lingers. Another name making headlines again is Moussa Dembele. Now he might be playing his football in Saudi Arabia these days, but the connection with Celtic never really fades. Even with an Achilles injury likely to keep him out for most of the year, he's making moves in the game. Quite literally. Turns out he's been president of AS Manza, a club in Mali since 2019, and now his investment fund has taken over a club in Lithuania, FK Manija. Yep, Dembele is officially a football club owner. And fair play to him. He always had that charisma, that sense of purpose beyond just putting the ball in the net. Seeing him in this new role, and at just 28, is fascinating. He's got time on his side to heal, to maybe even return to the game at a high level. But he's also setting himself up for the long run, and you wouldn't bet against him making serious moves in football's boardrooms down the line. Imagine a future where he's back at Celtic, not as a player, but as a director, or even more. The thought of President Dembele steering the club, now that would be something. And let's not forget just how good he was when he wore the hoops. Champions League nights goals against top sides, that raw power to swagger. For a while he was unplayable. Since then, the path hasn't always been smooth. Injuries, a mixed spell at Lyon, barely featuring at Atletico Madrid, and now out in the Middle East. But he's done enough to earn respect, enough to still have that aura whenever his name is mentioned among the Celtic faithful. Back to the current squad, and there's more positivity coming from inside the dressing room. Ari Engels has been opening up about life in Scotland, and it's clear he's embracing the experience. It's not just about football for him. He's enjoying the culture, the people, the energy of being part of Celtic. Said his parents are loving it too. Whether that means they've moved here or just visiting, it shows how deep the connection is getting. He also touched on something that's unique to a club like Celtic, the insane contrast in the types of matches you play. One week you're at Signal Iduna Park facing Borussia Dortmund in a cauldron of Champions League football. Days later, you're in Dingwall up against Ross County in front of a few thousand. That's not an easy switch. The mental shift required is huge. Most players spend their careers either playing the big European nights or grinding out league battles. Rarely both. But at Celtic, that's your normal. And Engels is learning to live with that, even thrive in it. It's also been interesting to hear him speak about the pressure that comes with wearing this shirt. He said it straight. The expectations at Celtic are higher than anything he's known before. Every game matters. Every touch gets scrutinized. And there's nowhere to hide. But he's not running from it. He's embracing it. That kind of mindset. Wanting the pressure, loving the responsibility. That's what Rodgers looks for. That's what builds title-winning squads. And speaking of titles, let's not forget what's on the line this weekend. The chance to seal the league with games to spare and keep the treble dream alive. That's not just success, that's dominance. Rodgers spoke about it when he returned. He wants this club to be relentless, to make winning the norm. And right now we're seeing that mission come to life. The blip earlier in the season, the doubters, the questions, they've all been answered on the pitch. The team's turned up when it matters. They've found their form, their rhythm, their bite. Even the younger players and the newer arrivals seem to be feeding off that energy. They're learning what it means to play for Celtic. Not just the history, not just the badge, but the responsibility. You wear that shirt, you're expected to win, expected to perform, expected to fight for everything. And the group is buying in, you can feel it. And that brings us back to Saturday. Tanadis, a chance to wrap up the league. The last few weeks have shown us that this squad is peaking at the right time. The goals are flowing, the confidence is back. And there's a sense of togetherness that's been building quietly but powerfully. You can see it in the way they celebrate goals and the way they fight for each other. This isn't just a team, it's a unit, a machine fine-tuned for this exact moment. The fans will be out in full force, of course. You can already picture it. A sea of green and white, the songs echoing through the stands, the roar when that final whistle blows. Because when Celtic win titles, it's not just about lifting a trophy. It's about the statement that we're still the standard, still the ones to beat, still the Kings of Scotland. And if it happens with another 5-0 win, well, wouldn't that just be classic Brendan Rodgers? Because let's not forget, every time his Celtic side has sealed the title, it's been with a 5-0. Hearts in 2017, Rangers in 2018, Kilmarnock last season. So if history wants to repeat itself again on Saturday, we're all for it. There's a buzz, a belief, a momentum that feels unstoppable. And while nothing's guaranteed in football right now, you back this Celtic team against anyone. One more match, one more point, one more step toward glory. Let's bring it home. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Jamie McGrath is quickly becoming the newest star to rise to Celtic Park, and the green and white faithful are already singing his name with pride. Few could have predicted the impact the Irish midfielder would have when he made the move. But now, with each passing match, it's becoming more clear that McGrath is not just a temporary spark. He's a player with a heart, intelligence, and fire to lead this Celtic side to new heights. Since arriving, McGrath has slotted into the midfield with remarkable ease. His ability to dictate the tempo of the game, link defense to attack, and remain calm under pressure has added a new layer of confidence to the squad. Fans watching from the stands or from home are witnessing a player who seems born to wear the hoops. There's a touch of class in the way he carries the ball forward, always scanning the pitch, always 2 steps ahead of his marker. What's most striking is not just his technical quality, but his sheer determination. McGrath plays with a grit and tenacity that's earned him instant respect in the dressing room and across the terraces. Whether it's a cold night at Tynecastle or a high-stakes derby, you can count on Jamie to give every ounce of energy. It's that kind of passion that endears a player to the Celtic support, and already there are whispers comparing him to legends of the past. As the season rolls on and the fixtures pile up, McGrath is proving to be more than a consistent performer. He's emerging as a leader. In matches where composure is key, he's the one calming his teammates. In games that need a moment of magic, he's stepping up with a clever pass or a perfectly timed run into the box. It's early days yet, but one thing is certain, Celtic may have uncovered a gem, and the Jamie McGrath era might just be getting started. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.